Hello and welcome to the Ice Guys. This is the show that takes you into the world of the National Hockey League. Every game, every day, from a betting perspective. With pro sports handicappers, Ian Cameron, Alex B. Smith, and various guests from the world of hockey and sports betting. And now, here's your host, Ian Cameron.
Welcome to the Ice Guys, Tuesday, November 11th. Ian Cameron, Alex B. Smith, Matt Robinson will be along in just a moment as well, and we're here to break down a very good Tuesday card. Lots of good games, actually, and I don't know if TNT planned it this way, but they have a doubleheader, and they've obviously showing a lot more Tuesday night games this year to fill the hole left by the departed NBA. They have Leafs versus Bruins, and then I don't think they knew Anaheim was going to be this freaking good to start this season. But they had Anaheim, Colorado before the season started as their second game of this doubleheader. And, boy, it's turned into one hell of a selection to go with that as your second game of tonight's doubleheader. That is a phenomenal game on paper with the way both of those teams are playing right now. So really good night of NHL action. There's some other pretty good matchups on the board as well. We'll get to all of the Tuesday action, previewing it in just a moment. Before we get into the recap, though, this is Remembrance Day in Canada, Veterans Day in the U.S. We do want to acknowledge a special thank you to all the servicemen and women that support our country, that serve our country,
yes.
And that allow us to talk about hockey betting on a daily basis on a show like this. And we want to acknowledge them, their sacrifice, and what they go through day in, day out, and year in, year out to help protect our respective nations and countries. So, and to all that we have lost in the battle over the years and the decades, certainly we want to pay respect and pay homage to all of those people, all that have served past and present with our military and our servicemen and women on this Remembrance Day in Canada and Veterans Day in the U.S. So we say, lest we forget, and thank you to everyone that serves for our respective countries, Alex.
Yeah, absolutely. I echo it wholeheartedly, like I said, throughout North America, to all the troops who, like I said, have served, past and present, and those who are lost as well. We remember those, and they said thank you for your service.
No question. It's always, and I think it's the least we can do, one day a year to, take some time away and just reflect and acknowledge those that have certainly paid this price and sacrifice for our freedoms over the years and the decades, and those that continue to do so currently.
Yes.
No question. NHL-wise, when you look at what we saw last night in NHL action, was obviously a little bit of a shorter card, but still some interesting games that played out. How about the New York Rangers? I'm so freaking glad I don't have to talk about how they can't score on home ice anymore. It's over. It's done. They had an outbreak offensively last night, an outburst, well overdue outburst as far as offensive production last night against the Nashville Predators. And that's why I stayed away from Nashville. I said, first glance is like, how do you not take this big plus money against this Ranger team that's winless at home? I said at the back of my mind, well, if the Rangers are going to get off the schneid, it could be against this Predators team that's pretty bad. And that's exactly what we saw. There was one bright spot for Nashville. Matthew Wood. Wood is good. Hat-trick for the Nashville Predators. And we've been impressed with him. We've sung his praises on this show early in the season, how well he's played for this Predators team, giving them some offense, showing signs of being a player that could be a pretty good NHLer for them for a long time to come, but unfortunately could not subdue the Rangers, who, like I said, I guess we're overdue for an offensive onslaught at home, and they got one. Zibanejad, Lafreniere had a much better game. It was great to see. They were crying out for him to step up, and he had a goal and 2 assists, 3 points in the win last night. Artemi Panarin gets on the board. They even get a goal from the defenseman, Vladislav Gavrikov. So it was a very good and much-needed boost of confidence for the New York Rangers on home ice, getting that 6-3 win over the Nashville Predators last night for their first home win of the season. The Islanders and the Devils was a pretty entertaining game. The Devils tie the game in the dying seconds with Simone Nemec getting the tying goal to tie it up 2-2. But Matthew Barzal in overtime wins it for the Islanders, handing the Devils their first home loss of the season by a score of 3-2. Islanders win in OT, a dual draw winner for me and Alex with the Islanders and the Devils. That was my favorite draw on the board, and Alex took it one step further with using it as a best bet for the show yesterday. So great to see that come through at north of plus 300. Nice to cash that draw in that game. Wasn't so nice with this next game, but I give Edmonton all the credit in the world. They had obviously down 3-1 going into the third period. And then, look, that's why he's Connor McDavid. Basically took the team on his back, in the third period and said, I'm not letting us lose another freaking game. I'm not doing it. I'm not allowing it. The goal he scored to make it 3-2 was just ridiculous. He just spins around and then flips the puck right over the shoulder of Jet Greaves, scores another end-to-end rush beauty later in the third period for the Edmonton Oilers to get them. Actually, Fantilli made it 4-2 right after McDavid's incredible goal just before that. And then McDavid scores that end-to-end rush goal to make it 4-3. And then Jake Wallman ties it with under a minute to go, shorthanded, 4-4. Game goes to overtime. And Jack Roslovic gets the game winner for the Edmonton Oilers, a comeback win that they desperately needed, and a 5-4 Edmonton win in overtime. So stops the bleeding, silences the Vultures, if you will, for a little bit, because the Vultures were circling in Edmonton with how pathetic their last two games before that were, but a much-needed win for them. And by the way, there's one thing I have to say about that game. Credit to Edmonton. Columbus, been a rough road trip for them. They'll be looking to bounce back. They did get a point, but boy, it feels like a hollow point considering they had multiple two-goal leads in that game and could not hold on to them. But Trent Frederick, man, I know you got great heart, great guts, great character. Stop fighting Matthew Olivier, okay? That's just nuts. I mean, that's crazy. As far as that's concerned, Matthew Olivier just handed it to him in that fight last night. So I credit him his guts for standing up to Matthew Olivier and wanting to fight him. But boy, oh boy, it was pretty lopsided there in favor of Matthew Olivier.
I mean, in that case, I don't mind it, and I'm gonna tell you the reason why. Because if you're the one calling out the team, and you step up and show out, then there's no reason for anybody else to not step up and deliver too. It's one thing to say something and be the vocal leader, but to actually put actions to words, I don't mind that. Yeah, okay, fine. You take your lumps. We're all gonna take our lumps. We're not gonna win every damn fight. That happens. So I like the motive. I like the message, and that's a moment where even in a loss on the ice, you're still showing the heart. You're still showing that courage, and you're still letting the rest of your team know, hey, we got to go all in, and sometimes we might get our ass kicked, but sometimes we might kick some ass too. That's the way it goes.
That's it. Yeah, he's got guts, more guts than brains, as they say. That might have been the situation there for Frederick, but give him credit at least, because Olivier is one of the best heavyweights in the league, as we know. And the Florida Panthers, I know it's been a grind of a season. They've obviously had their struggles, but a nice 3-2 road win in Vegas against the Golden Knights last night. Against the run of play, Vegas outshot Florida 12-1 in the third period, but Sergei Bobrovsky stood tall. He was tremendous in that final period to allow Florida to hang on with the 3-2 win. Vegas, a little bit of up and down, inconsistent play from the Vegas Golden Knights. They probably deserved a better fate, but that's two games in a row that against Anaheim, they played okay, but not great in the first two periods, and it took until the third period for them to get it going and crank it up, but still lost too little too late. Same thing last night. It took until the third period for them to get going, but again, too little too late in that one. And yes, I was on, it wasn't my bargain bin, but I did have the goal prop on close shave. Barbashev continues to be one of the clear bright spots right now with the Vegas team.
Have you cashed with every one of his goals this season? I swear to God, it seems like that.
It seems like it. I've had some kind of goal prop on Ivan Barbashev when he's found the back of the net, no doubt. Alex, is there anything you wanted to add about Monday night's action?
I mean, like I said, you kind of covered all of it. It was, some decent action for a 4-game slate. Was really happy to see Nemec get that goal to tie it up and cash the draw. And like I said, draw season continues to roll on. This unprecedented run of early overtime games has just been absolutely fascinating. And to cap it off at the end too with that Columbus and Edmonton game, like I said, that was just a frantic back and forth pace. Hate to lose that one because I did have Columbus on the money line, but to see a game like that, and that's a game that Edmonton really kind of needed to kind of, like I said, get that momentum rolling late, get that win. Those are 2 points. You don't see them have to do that often, where they have to come and scrape back from, especially that down margin late in that game like that. But that's a good win for them, and that's something that they can build upon. And when you're a team that they're not a rebuilding team, right? This is a team that's expected to be one of the best in the league, be right back there at the top and at the head of the Western Conference. You're gonna have those lumps and bumps, and so to get those kind of wins, those 2 points will certainly loom large later on than they do right now.
Yeah, no doubt. Every point, you can't make the playoffs in October and November, but you could really do yourself some damage in terms of making the playoffs, missing the playoffs, I should say, later on in the year. So, like I said, these are important. You don't want to dig a hole. That's the key. Don't be a friggin' undertaker at this time of year. Keep yourself above water, because even though, like I said, it's a long season and you just can't, like Nashville did that last year, and they could never, ever, ever recover. You have to at least make sure you're not, put yourself in a spot that you're 10, 12 points out already here in the month of November. Stay within single digits of the final wild card spots, and you're going to give yourself a chance, especially if you get things rolling later in the year.
And recognizing where the wins and losses come from within the 50. When I mentioned that, and we've had this conversation in our chatty, and this is an old Hulk Harrelson analogy, but to modify it for hockey, it goes, you're going to win 16 games and you're going to lose 16 games. What you do with the other 50 in between shows whether you get to the playoffs or whether you're a team that misses out. And a win like that for Edmonton, that's one of those wins that's in the 50 on the positive end. And there's a lot of teams we've been seeing getting more wins than losses on that positive end early. That's why we've been seeing such close games.
Yeah, no question. Well said. And Donovan Sabrango is the kid you're talking about, Grant, in the chat. He was very good. I agree. He had a good game last night. That was a guy that was in the Ottawa Senators organization previously, now with Florida, and he looked really, really solid for them last night in the victory. So I'm sure he's going to get some more opportunity from head coach Paul Maurice without question. All right, let's get into this Tuesday NHL card. We got a big one, and we will start with the first game of a TNT Tuesday night doubleheader, original six matchup, rematch of what we just saw Saturday in Toronto. These two teams met, and tonight they will meet again. Toronto minus 135. Home favorite, 6.5, the total in this game. Now, you guys know I've been riding this Toronto Maple Leafs over streak, which is now 11 straight Leafs games have gone over the total. It's been just a remarkable run, absolutely outstanding, and I'm riding the streak. I've always said that. I keep riding the streak until it stops cashing. And also, not to mention, we've seen both of these teams pick things up with their first period over prowess as well. So this is an over by Fecta here, over 1.5, over first period, and over 6.5 full game between the Bruins and the Leafs tonight. That being said, and I said this to our the group chat we have, if this is the night when the streak ends for the Leafs overs, I wouldn't be totally shocked by that, because Craig Berube is at his wit's end with this team, with the lack of defensive prowess from them, the lack of defending at a high level, the lack of battling for loose pucks, the lack of blocking shots, and really, being strong and structured with your coverage in the D zone. He's fed up. He has had it with the issues Toronto's had, especially over the weekend, where they were just a sieve, really, at the defensive end of the ice in those back-to-back home losses to the Bruins and the Hurricanes over the weekend. Didn't even resemble a Leaf defense that we saw for a good chunk of last year. 10 goals allowed in the two games, yielding almost 90 shots on goal combined in the two games over the weekend as well. So Berube's fed up. And you could see them digging in and tonight at the defensive end and saying, we got to play more of a shutdown game, especially now that we're going on the road here for this matchup against the Boston Bruins. But like I said, I'll be damned if I'm not riding the streak just because of a little fear of, the coach putting the fear of God into the players, to start playing a little bit better defensively. So I am riding the streak. There is some trepidation, because I do think if Toronto's going to bring a better defensive effort and a concerted, focused defensive effort, it's going to be here tonight against Boston. But I'm still riding it, first period over, full game over in this game. I also like the Leafs in the first period on the puck line here. I'm going to take a shot with that. First period puck line. They lost 5-3 at home to the Bruins on Saturday night. Rapid revenge spot. I don't know if I like the price. I lean to them full game too, but with Boston on this win streak, I want better than minus 135 pregame to back Toronto. But I'll take them in the first 20 at a plus price on the puck line, because I do believe we will get Toronto focused, dialed in, ready from the opening puck drop. Jonathan Davis alluded to it in the chat. There was a team meeting to iron out what's been going on here before this game tonight against the Boston Bruins. I would be stunned if we don't see Toronto carry the play in the first period and get out early to a solid start after what went on over the weekend. and the fact they just lost to this Bruins team on home ice on Saturday. So, yeah, I definitely lean full game with Toronto. May wait for a little better price in game with the full game, but I like the first period puck line, and I like the price you can get with it. You can get Toronto first period puck line -0.5 plus 162. Very good price there with the Leafs to maybe be up in the first 20 minutes. So pre-game, I'm on the over by Fecta and on the Leafs first period puck line here in this one. Alex, what do you think? Toronto, Boston?
This may be a game to look at that old stack that we used to do with first period puck line and then looking at first period correct scores. Leafs 1-0 is at plus 490, 2-0 score at 11-1, and 2-1 at 13-1. So I might split up a unit amongst all four of those, but I did grab the over 6 yesterday. Excuse me, at minus $1.18. Like you said, this could be the spot where it slows down. But the thing that I'm not so worried about Toronto possibly playing a better defensive effort. I think they still might be able to just get the offense going against Boston to where this game still goes up and over the total. So I don't think this is going to be all of a sudden 2-1, 3-2 just because Toronto wants to be more responsible defensively. They can still get offense rolling. Boston still can be a shaky team defensively. So I'm not scared of that. So at 6.5, I'd say maybe wait at this point and try and grab a small piece of a 6, especially, like I said, watch early and see where the pace goes. Maybe we see a very slow and methodical pace to where this possibly drops to 5.5 at some point. So if you didn't get 6.9, I'd say wait and grab something live. But I'm joining you on that first period puck line with the Leafs, and I'm going to stack it with correct scores as well.
Look, once in a while, you see a spot and you hear a spot where you figure a team's going to come out hard, come out fast, come out strong. And it feels like this is one of those times for Toronto. If they don't, shame on them after what happened over the weekend. But I would be absolutely floored if this is not the Leafs carrying the play, at least in the opening 20 minutes tonight here in Boston in this one. All right, as far as props for this game, there are a few that I am interested in. I'm just looking at the John Tavares. I call him the old man with great respect. Because, obviously he's older, but he can obviously still play and he can obviously still score goals. The way he is going right now for the Leafs has been very impressive. I know he's not a bargain bin, but you're talking about a goal-scoring streak of 3 games now for him. It's well worth a look, in my opinion, here tonight in this one. Do we roll back Fraser Minton again against his old team? I mean, he scored against Toronto the other night. Maybe he finds the back of the net here tonight in this one as well. We'll have to wait and see on that. For the Leafs, when you look at the last game, I had Michelli, I remember, against Boston on Saturday as a bargain bin special. Maybe you can go back to the well with that. Nick Robertson and Matthew Nyes. These are 2 guys that are playing with Austin Matthews. I think for them, they need to step up. Nyes has actually had a bit of I don't want to say he's been bad, but he's been not quite what we expected from him here early in the season. So, but again, he's a young player. He's going to go through ups and downs. You can say that about a lot of players on this team. You can't just hang it on Matthew Nyes. So, like I said, I think that those 2 guys might be worth a look here. Do you sprinkle on Brandon? By the way, Brandon Carlos returned to Boston for the first time since that trade last year, where he was acquired by the Leafs from the Bruins. I'm not saying he's going to score a goal because he's not much of a offensive producer from the back end. By any stretch of the imagination. Doesn't even have a goal yet this year, but something to keep in mind that Brandon Carlo returning here to Boston for the very first time, playing the Bruins in Boston as a member of the Toronto Maple Leafs. Stolars and Swayman, by the way, is the starting goaltending matchup here in this one. All right, we've got Dallas and Ottawa. We've got Ottawa -120 home favorites, 5.5 the total. In this game, we've got the Senators obviously playing some good hockey. Again, the Ottawa Senators right now. They've won back-to-back games against Utah and Philadelphia. We'll see if the win streak can continue. 4 of their last 5 games have gone past regulation as well. That's a very interesting thing to be aware of. They've actually beaten Dallas twice in a row at home, and it's actually been kind of a homer series. The last 6 meetings, Stars-Sens, the home team has been victorious. 3 Ottawa home wins and 3 Dallas home wins here in the last couple of years. I do lean Dallas, though. I think this is a very cheap price. You don't get many cheap prices with the Dallas Stars, and they are coming off back-to-back wins against Nashville and Seattle. They played a back-to-back Saturday and Sunday. Were able to win both of those games in back-to-back fashion. Jake Ottinger, Linus Ullmark will be your goaltending matchup here in this one. I think I will sprinkle on Dallas just because, again, to get them at plus 100 even money. Yeah, it is 8 straight. Yeah, for Ottawa over Dallas. I know, but I think this price is just a little bit too cheap for me to pass up taking a little bit on Dallas here, plus 100 here in this one. Over first period too, have to take it. I don't know about the full game. This is definitely one where I'm more zoning in on the first period over, but we are talking about a team in Ottawa that's been pretty strong with first period overs of late and overall for the season. Ottawa 11-5 to the first period over for the duration of the season. So they've been a very strong first period over team. I definitely think that's worth a bet here in this game as well. Alex, what do you think here? Ottawa, Dallas.
With two of my favorite bets. First period over 1.5 minus $1.20, and then I grabbed the draw at plus 325.
Yeah. Oh, draw. Yeah, draw. I've got some other draws on the board. Not this one, but this one I could see. I could see it being worth. I mean, Ottawa 4 of the last 5, no question. So I could see. I might dabble in that a little bit here with that draw, just because of Ottawa. The only thing that kept me away from betting the draw initially was that none of the recent meetings head-to-head have gone past regulation. But can't deny the fact that Ottawa's been pretty good at games going past regulation of late, 4 of the last 5. Then you start to look at Dallas, 3 of the last 6. And then that Anaheim game that ended 7-5 almost went to overtime. And then the Seattle and Nashville games for Dallas over the weekend were decided by 1 goal. So they were flirting with overtime in all those games as well. So, I think that draw actually now on second look, might be worth a shot here as well in this one. And I'm riding Michael Amadio. How can you not? How can you not take Michael Amadio again here to score a goal? 4 straight games with a goal. The price is still, off the charts right now for him. At this point in time, there's really been no adjustment. Plus 540 still out there for Michael Amadio.
That high still? That's amazing.
Still for Michael Amadio to find the back of the net here for the Ottawa Senators. So you got to roll with that. Jonathan saying David Perron has 3 goals in 4 games against Ottinger. So if you buy into the head-to-head forward versus goaltender goal stats, Perron might be worth a look there.
Shout out to JD. He's been good with
very good with
those
that.
Stats.
Like I say, that's a different way of betting goal props. I look for value as far as where they are in the lineup. I look for obviously streaks, like for instance a Michael Amadio. Guys that have players that have scored multiple games in a row, or 5 of the last 6 games, that kind of thing. But that's definitely a good way to go about it too. Different ways to go about it, like I always say in sports betting and handicapping, no question. As far as other props for Ottawa, I'll throw out Ridley Gregg as well. I think he did score the other night. He's now on the second line. Worth a look for them. For the Dallas Stars, Sam Steele, value with Johnston and Rantanen. Maybe you look toward Maverick Bourque as well. Because I think he's someone that I think he's going to be amped up because, keep an eye on Maverick Bourque for that game in Montreal, because they go to Montreal after this, Dallas, and he'll be wanting to make a good showing of himself there in his home province. All right, next up, we've got Washington and Carolina. Carolina minus 160, home favorite, 6 the total here in this game. This is one where I'm going to bet over 6. The concern being Washington's not really an over team, and they've struggled to score goals at times, and that continues to be a bit of an issue for Spencer Carberry's team. They just haven't had that punch offensively consistently, and the last 2 losses, 5-3 to Pittsburgh, 3-2 to Tampa in their last 2 games. We'll see if they can get out of their offensive doldrums here tonight in this game. Carolina's an absolute marvel at what they're doing right now, and Rod Brind'Amour deserves a hell of a lot of credit. It's not right for a team to go through the injuries on defense and the blue line that Carolina has gone through early in the season. And yet, how do they enter this game? Only on a 4-game win streak with 3-4 starting defensemen out. I mean, it's absolutely insane what Carolina's managed to do with a patchwork blue line, but they just keep on ripping off wins. Next man up mentality on that blue line. They're still without Jacob Slavin. They're still without Jalen Chatfield. There is some good news, though. One of them is back tonight again. Keandre Miller, who was out, came back, then got hurt again, and now he's back in the lineup tonight for Carolina. But still without Slavin, still without Chatfield, and one of the guys that had taken over on the blue line, Charles Alexis Legault, it was announced he's going to be out for a very long time today. So, again, we'll see if Keandre Miller being back should help. So we got Miller, Walker, Nikishin, Goss Despair, Riley, and Joel Nystrom on the blue line for Carolina here in this one. I don't mind. I think Washington could be a little dangerous here in this game, and it's because of what Rich is pointing out in the chat right now. This is a lot of games in a short time for Carolina, a massive rest advantage for Carolina, or Washington rather, 2 days rest for Washington, and off back-to-back losses to Pittsburgh and Tampa. The last time Caps were off significant rest, back-to-back losses with rest to stew on it, that was the game last week against St. Louis when Ovechkin scored 900 and they put the boots to St. Louis. Now, St. Louis is not Carolina. You can't compare them right now. But I think in this spot with the rest, off 2 losses, all the games Carolina's played, coming back home off the road, there's no urgency. There's no urgency for Carolina. They're rolling 4 straight wins with all these injuries on defense. I think this could be a sneaky spot for Washington at this price. So I'm going to sprinkle on the Caps here, plus 140. And I do not bet against Carolina, especially at home, very often. But I think in this spot here, plus 140, I'm going to just get in on a little bit on the Capitals here in this spot, plus 140, plus along with that full game over as well. Alex, what do you think? Washington, Carolina.
I'm going to play it a little bit safer and go with the team totals. I like Caps team total. You can get over 3 flat at MGM minus $1.15. And then at FanDuel, I see a 2.5 at minus 134. So I think the Caps can get some goals, but Carolina is still just a damn good team. And it's hard to, even with the scheduling, go against them. This could be a spot where maybe if it goes back and forth, we've seen Caps and Canes games get up and down at times. So maybe a lean to a full game over as well. But I'm definitely just
or wait live to get a 5.5. You could do that
right.
too.
Or wait live for a 5.5 or grab a 6. Yeah. So I'll probably more than likely with full game stuff kind of wait in game. But pre-game I am on both of those Caps team totals. 2.5 minus 134 at FanDuel, and then minus 115 on over 3 flat at MGM.
All right, good stuff there. What happened here? The stupid prop thing here. Oh my gosh, the advertisements, man. These things with these advertisements that just pop up. I had everything right in front of me here. Got to open things up again for these props. All right, here we go. After that little annoying moment. All right, here we go. As far as props, we got 2-game goal streaks here for Aho and Jarvis right now for the Carolina Hurricanes. So, you could look in those 2 directions. I think for Washington here, after the 2 days off, like I said, looking to have a much better performance. Focus more on Strome, Wilson, Protas, okay? Those are the guys that are going to deliver the goods if they're going to get some offense going here tonight in this game. So very interesting. Yeah, I know what I'm up against. That's why I said small on Washington, here, because you're right. Hurricanes are a beast. They're a wagon. At home, they're phenomenal. And there it is, 21 straight divisional home games they have won. 21 straight at home against divisional opponents they have won. That's a pretty remarkable streak. So yeah, that's why even though I'm on Washington, it is a smaller bet. LA, Montreal. We've got LA minus 115 road favorites, 5.5. The total. I hate this LA team so much that out of spite, I'm betting. No, I'm not just out of spite, but no, I like Montreal. You're going to give me Montreal at this price right now, minus 105. Played great at home. The Bell Center's rocking with how well this team's played to start the year. I know Los Angeles has a better road record than home record this year, no question. And they did start their road trip with a 3-2 win against Pittsburgh. I don't think it was overly dominant or impressive. They got outshot 33-27 by the Penguins in that 3-2 win. So like I said, it just wasn't that impressive to me. So, bleu, blanc, rouge, au Canadien. Montreal here, minus 105 here on home ice. I like it. Great price at home for this team. They're over 5-1-1 on home ice this year, Montreal. 6-2 win against Utah in their last game. I think the draw here is worth a look. 4 of the last 5 for Montreal have gone past regulation. So I like the draw here as well. I'm going against that, Rich. I know. I saw that. 8 straight wins for the Kings over the Habs. This is time for it to end right now. I'm sure the Habs are aware of that, too. Someone will mention it. Those Montreal, Quebec media people, they're on everything when it comes to the Habs. They know everything. So even if the players don't know off the top of their head, hey, we lost 8 straight to the LA Kings, someone will tell them, and they'll be aware of that. And I think definitely that is something that will fuel Montreal tonight. So I'll go Montreal minus 105, the draw. And I have to ride the Montreal over streak, especially with the 5.5s that were being offered here in this game. Montreal, 7 straight games over the total, 8-1-1 to the over in their last 10 games. Normally with the Kings, we take it or leave it when it comes to betting their games over. but this is a Montreal streak. They've won seven straight Montreal games, rather, have gone over the total. You're getting a 5.5 with some juice, but still, to get 5.5, it's worth paying the juice and laying the price, in my opinion. Over 5.5, minus 124 right now at FanDuel. 7 straight overs for this Habs team. We'll take that value at 5.5 over. See if the Habs can make it 8 straight. And I know the Kings have played a little bit better defense, and Kemper's actually had a nice little run lately. This is a team that can flat out put the puck in the net right now, this Montreal Canadiens team. Let's see Kemper, and let's see that little stodgy, little long in the tooth King defense here tonight handle that speed of the Montreal Canadiens tonight. Alex, what do you think? Kings, Habs?
Yeah, I like that over 5.5 as well. I'll go with that. Minus 122 is what I'm seeing at FanDuel. I grabbed the draw earlier at plus 320, and so I might as well add as well. Correct score, 60-minute correct score, 3-3, a tie at plus 1,300.
All right, great stuff. As far as props in this game, I am on Montreal, but as I always say, doesn't mean you can't bet the players on the other team to score, and you have to bet the old man, Scory Perry, for the LA Kings right now. Like I said, what he's been able to do has been very strong as far as offense. You know, he's actually been at times carrying the team offensively of late, Corey Perry. That's how good he has been for them since obviously delayed start to his season due to injury, but came back. And look what he has done. Just in the last 6 games, this guy has 5 goals, and he's got 8 points in the last 6 games. For this team. 2, 4, 6, 8 points and 5 goals in the last 6 games for Corey Perry with this LA Kings team. So he's been absolutely he's been cooking. There's no question. So he's worth a look. I like that angle. Someone in the chat mentioning it. I looked at it too. Philip Deneau for the LA Kings going back to Montreal, his former team. This could be the night where maybe a Phil Deneau look is worth a shot here. And remember, don't bet Alex Laferriere. You can bet him to score a goal, but don't bet him if your thinking is he's going back home to Quebec. No, Alex Laferriere is from New Jersey. We'll remind you of that once again, just to make sure people don't get confused there. That's very important to point that out. And then for me, Kapanen. Kapanen's been kind of that guy. Alex took Oliver Kapanen a couple times early in the season for Montreal, and now he's scored in back-to-back games for them again, and 3 points in the last 2 games for Montreal. So Oliver Kapanen time for the Montreal Canadiens. I think worth a look here, looking to make it a 3-game goal streak after tonight. Good stuff. All right, Calgary and St. Louis. We've got St. Louis minus 145, home favorites, 5.5 the total in this game. This is a draw for me. Here in this game, it just feels like 2 teams that, you know, 1 step forward, 2 steps back all season long for these 2 teams. Neither one can really get on any sort of traction. You know, we'll see if who's going to be able to get the better of the other. I know Jonathan's got a long-term stat that says the Blues as home favorites lately have been pretty miserable. St. Louis has beaten Calgary 7 straight times, but with St. Louis's current form, I'm not laying this price at all. Not interested even in a little bit to lay it here with St. Louis. But the draw, I am a little bit interested in. You know, if you buy into this, Calgary, of course, was off a 4-0 shutout loss to Chicago from Friday. Then they played in Minnesota on Sunday, and so they were off a shutout loss, which last year meant bet first period over, full game over for teams off a shutout loss. But they got shut out again. Goose egg by Minnesota, 2-0. So they're off back-to-back shutout losses. The Calgary Flames. This is scary, but I'm going to just dabble slightly in the over first period here, slightly because of that. I mean, back-to-back shutout losses for Calgary. You got to think, if you're Ryan Huska, score! Get some freaking goals going. Get some offense going here. And it's not like St. Louis has been a shutdown team this season. So the first period over, I'm going to take a shot with that. You got a team involved that's not scored in 2 straight games. You have to come out with a little purpose at the offensive end of the ice, and hopefully we see that here tonight from the Calgary Flames. So a little dabble in the first period over here to go with the draw for me. Alex, what do you think? Calgary, St. Louis.
Yeah, you know, and at this price, minus 120, 125, I'm going to wait and try and grab a plus price in game on that first period over. But I did grab a piece of the draw. Plus 330 was the price that I grabbed here with these 2.
All right, good stuff. Yeah, as far as not as many in the props for me in this game. Other than to say, you know, Holloway has had a bit of a quiet season, but he did score last game.
Yeah.
We're going back to an old friend. Holloway, plus 290 for him to find the back of the net for the St. Louis Blues tonight. And by the way, as far as goaltending, I do want to mention Kemper and Montembeault is confirmed for the game we talked about before, LA and Montreal. Thompson and Anderson for Washington, Carolina. And for this game, it is confirmed. We've got Binnington for St. Louis and Dustin Wolf for Calgary. So that is your goaltending matchup there.
He's always streaky, but what about a Nick Bustad look moving up from the fourth line to the second line?
Yes. Yeah, don't mind it. Streaky, not always going to get offense from him, but like I said, Bukestad did connect. You're going to get him up the lineup here a little bit tonight in this game, so that's not bad. You know, we always look for that value, and Nick Bukestad's with Shannon Suter tonight on the second line for the St. Louis Blues, so maybe that is definitely something worth a look in tonight's game. I think for me, too, as far as someone on Calgary for a goal prop, Morgan Frost is on the top line. There's probably still good value there with him. Sharon Govich is an enigma. He's someone that's frustrating to any coaching staff because when he doesn't score, he doesn't really do much else of anything to help you. But he is on the second line tonight for Calgary. So maybe an opportunity with the elevated spot for him to maybe find the back of the net tonight. All right, San Jose, Minnesota. We've got Minnesota minus 210 home favorites. The total here sitting at looks like 6.5 across the board in this one. I mean, give me the Sharks at this price with the way they're playing. How do I turn down the San Jose Sharks plus 170, plus 180 right now? And I know Minnesota is a team that went through the doldrums and they've snapped out of it to a certain degree. Enter this game with a little bit of a pep in their step once again. Back-to-back wins for them against the Islanders and the Flames over the weekend. But this San Jose team, man, they're fearless. They are not scared of anybody right now. They're not scared of Minnesota because they've gone into Grand Casino Arena, as it's now called. I always want to say XL, but I always correct myself with that. And they've gone there last year, late in the year, 8-7 in overtime. Minnesota won. And then overtime just a couple weeks ago, in Minnesota, and a 6-5 San Jose win in overtime. So, like I said, the Sharks have been very, very much feisty and a thorn in the side of this Minnesota Wild team here. And again, with this Minnesota team, this is a team that here's Minnesota. They've already lost as a minus 180 favorite at home against San Jose. They lost as a minus 160 favorite against Pittsburgh at home earlier this year. So, like I said, this is just San Jose feeling it right now. And I'm telling you what, we're seeing a paradigm shift, I should say. The pendulum is swinging and a paradigm shift in NHL betting philosophy. There would be a time when in spots like this with these teams that are rolling, but, now they're going on the road, they're big underdogs, and they're facing a team that, they shouldn't be as good as. You'd always say, hey, now we're going to see the streak end. We're going to take this team, in this case, Minnesota. You're going to hear some people say it about, I've heard some people say it about Anaheim multiple games in a row that, okay, they're facing Dallas now. This is where the streak ends. It didn't end. Oh, this is where the streak's going to end against Vegas. No, it didn't end. Oh, what a brutal spot. Winnipeg, back-to-back, after beating Vegas and Dallas. 3rd and 4 nights. And again, it did not end. Anaheim won again. And same thing here with San Jose. You're going to think, well, they're winning games in a row, but now Minnesota with revenge, Minnesota this, Minnesota at home is good, all this BS and jargon and nonsense that gets spewed. Hey, they may win. I don't want to make it sound like Minnesota won't win, but I think if you're using that as a reason to bet Minnesota that, hey, this team's due to lose, and that the due to lose factor is not working in the NHL this year. That's all there is to it. If you are betting against Anaheim every game because they're due, it's not going to keep going. It's not going to keep rolling like this. You're getting your fucking head caved in. It's that simple. You're getting your bankroll shoved up your ass, and you're getting your head caved in this year betting NHL hockey. If you're just betting against the teams that are due for a loss, and that's what your thinking is. And it's, again, kind of feels that way here to me with this San Jose, Minnesota game. That you're betting against San Jose at a price like this, which is a great price, only because you think they're due to finally lose one, even though this team has shown you they can beat Florida, they can beat Winnipeg. They're playing better defensively now all of a sudden. 3 straight wins. Their only loss during this stretch was a shootout loss to Detroit. They beat Colorado. They beat New Jersey. They're beating good teams too, just like Anaheim has been doing that lately. So for me, San Jose plus 170, split with team total over here with the San Jose Sharks as well in this game. I like the over a little bit, but that's the lightest bet of the bunch. I'm more on the San Jose money line and team total over, and I have to sprinkle on the draw. I can't turn down the draw in this game with back-to-back Shark Wild games in Minnesota going past regulation. Alex, what do you think here, San Jose, Minnesota?
I have a small piece of dog, small piece of draw, much larger bet with the team total over 2.5, grab minus 120 with San Jose. Like I said, this is just a team that's in good form right now, and a Wild team that, they still aren't quite where they really want to be. There's still a little bit of shakiness with them, and I think the Sharks can catch them. Like I said, we saw them just do that right here at the same building a while back, so it would not shock me one bit to see this game go back and forth and still be in favor of the Sharks and possibly go past regulation. And I'm looking all things Macklin Celebrini. I have him anytime goal plus 160, plus a couple more things I'll talk about later.
I mean, let's think about this philosophy that I've been talking about the last couple minutes a little more in depth. Why, as a bettor, would you run to the window and keep fading Anaheim game in, game out when you're seeing what they're doing, when you're laying massive prices with the team they're playing? And why would you do that here tonight? And then just because you think they're due for a loss and sweat and bite your fingernails and sweat your keister off in a tight game, or maybe they're trailing late or whatever, rather than just take plus money, plus prices with teams that have been clearly mispriced on a game in, game out basis and are feeling it right now and are playing with great confidence and swagger and mojo, like a San Jose spot, like an Anaheim spot repeatedly here. And whereas with us, if we lose with San Jose plus price or Anaheim finally plus price, and we say, okay, we lose one, but we've made all this money with great prices, big plus prices with these teams. Whereas if you go against San Jose and Anaheim and you lose just once going against them, you're down big because of the big prices that you're having to lay to go against a San Jose, to go against an Anaheim. It's the dumbest thing in the world, if you ask me. So like I said, it's just one of these spots where, certainly if you're going to bet Minnesota, please, take them in regulation or team total, do something else other than minus 210. But to me, one of the things that I've been talking about here, and it's why, NHL has been a great sport to me, and Alex too is a big reason it has been, is because you can identify teams in October, in November, that are going to outperform betting market expectations and be able to not only win with them once or twice, but maybe a handful of times, because it's going to take a while for the betting markets to correct and adjust properly to where to the level those teams are playing at right now. And I say right now, and that's a key thing to point out with Anaheim and San Jose. Right now, they're playing great. They're going to go through their swoon. They're going to go through their downfall. They're going to have a tough, stretch and a rough patch at some point. You don't think Anaheim's going to go 1-7 at some point in an 8-game stretch? You don't think San Jose is going to go on another 5-6 game losing streak at some point this season? Of course they will, no doubt. But I'm saying right now, why would you go hell or high water to fade these two teams? That's what we're asking. That's especially at these prices, that you're constantly getting San Jose and constantly getting Anaheim. And of course, we'll get to Anaheim a little bit later.
You're absolutely right. Nothing good happens when you play in traffic. And like I said, if you riding a streak, that's one thing, but to go against certain streaks, we talked about it with Pittsburgh. The way Pittsburgh had played and started off at the beginning of the year, now things have kind of balanced out a bit. But, when you see a team hot this early, you just have to either ride the train or you just wait for it to fall off, and then you make your adjustments. But like I said, you have to tread lightly when you see these teams streak this early.
But I know someone out there tonight will be minus 210 on Minnesota, sweating their ass off, biting their fingernails in what's probably going to be a close game for them. And someone's going to lay minus 240 with Colorado tonight, saying this has got to be it for Anaheim. This is where the rubber meets the road. And you're going to be just sweating and grinding and laying an astronomical price. And it's not even going to be an easy winner for you, even if that team does win. Like I said, it's the dumbest thing in the world, in my opinion, to be betting like that. Totally absurd. But hey, there are some people that do that. So to each his own. All right. As far as props go for this San Jose and Minnesota game, we've got Macklin Celebrini's battling for the league lead in points, and he scored in 3 straight games. So you certainly can't talk anyone out of any props to do with Macklin Celebrini right now going into this game tonight for the Sharks. Will Smith, is Eklund back tonight for the Sharks? I think yes. Yeah, he is playing with Wenberg and Kurashev on that second line. I think for the Minnesota Wild, we've got Zuccarello with Rossi and Kaprizov. So, Zuccarello, up on that line might have value. We've talked about the nice point streak that Marcus Johansson's on. It's now 9-game point streak for him, and a 4-game point streak, by the way, for Will Smith, and 3-game point streak for Macklin Celebrini going into this game tonight for the Sharks. So, like I said, that'll be a fun one to watch. We'll see if this up-and-coming San Jose team can keep the nice little vibes going. All right. Like I said, this is the second game now of the TNT doubleheader. I don't think they expected Anaheim to be this good when they said, let's go with Anaheim, Colorado, TNT on Tuesday, November 11th. But here we are, and this has a box office from an NHL standpoint written all over it. These are the number 1 and number 2 teams in the NHL, Anaheim and Colorado, in goals per game so far this season. They're the only 2 teams in the NHL that so far that are currently averaging 4 goals or more per game, which tells you how tough they are to keep off the scoreboard right now. Colorado minus 240, home favorites, 6.5 the total here in this game.
Who are they playing again? The Avalanche?
Yes.
Not the Rockies? Okay.
My gosh. I'm looking sorry about that. Yeah. That does happen every now and then.
1980?
And another, it could. There was a Colorado Rockies hockey team at one point in time. There we go. Avalanche. There we go. We're back. Great stuff. That does happen. I've called the Carolina Hurricanes the Panthers. I've called the Carolina Panthers the Hurricanes. It does happen every now and then. So yeah, we get the sports a little bit crossed up. There we go. Anaheim Ducks, Colorado Avalanche. Yeah, I'm not going to go into belabor the point. This team's just ridiculous right now. There's no spot that they can't. There's no spot they don't. There's no bad spot they can't overcome. There's no tough opponent that they can't slay. That is what we're seeing right now from the Anaheim Ducks. This is not just a win. A win streak is one thing. To win this many games in a row like Anaheim has, entering this game winning 7 straight, 9-1 in their last 10 games. Look at the impressive, unreal list of opponents that they have beaten during this win streak. Florida, twice, by the way. They've beaten Florida the last few weeks. Detroit is better than expected this year. New Jersey, Dallas, Vegas, Winnipeg. Dallas, Vegas, and Winnipeg are 3 of the better teams in this conference, for crying out loud, the last few years. And Florida, Anaheim just beat them 3 in a row, 1 by 1. See you later, Vegas. See you later, Dallas. See you later, Winnipeg. So this is a legit win streak. This is a team that has just got great on-ice chemistry. This is a team that's lighting it up offensively. The power play is sensational. Chris Kreider has been a dynamo for that. Leo Carlsson has arrived, folks. 10 goals, 15 assists for him in 25 points already. He is with that group of players. We got 2 players in this game battling for the points lead. Leo Carlsson for Anaheim, Nathan McKinnon for Colorado. I mean, this has just fasten your seatbelts, ladies and gentlemen. This is going to be a heck of a ride tonight. We hope this game lives up to what we think it could deliver for the TNT audience. But like I said, this game has been this game has been something I've been looking forward to now for a few days. Now seeing Anaheim play as well as they have. Now Colorado, started strong, kind of had a little fizzle there. Late October, they lost a few in a row, but boy, they got it back. 5-1 in their last 6 games, scoring in bunches. They've scored 17 goals in their last 3 games alone, which is just absolutely, they can light it up. And for Anaheim, there's still times when they come in and out of that tight defensive play, and that's going to be put to the test here, obviously, by Colorado, especially when they play at Ball Arena. Your only fear is that everyone in the world is going to think this is going to be 5-4 or 6-5 kind of game. And once in a while, you do get something that, takes you aback, and you get maybe a 2-1, 3-1 type of game. But boy, it's very difficult to see this game staying under with the firepower these 2 teams have right now. Lukas Dostal, Scott Wedgwood will be the goaltending matchup here tonight in this game. I'm on over first period. And by the way, these are 2 teams both of them are on first period over streaks right now. Entering this game, Anaheim and Colorado. So first period over, full game over, and we're going back to the 2 Anaheim bets that we just have been just constantly going back to repeatedly. I'm taking the plus 210 with Anaheim here in this game. Now, this is finally a spot where if you want to play it safer with the Ducks, you could actually take puck line plus 1.5 minus 125, and it's a reasonable price to lay that if you want to be a little bit safer. I don't need to be safe. I've won how many big money lines in a row with Anaheim? How many? Vegas game, Dallas game, big prices, big plus money shots we won with Anaheim. I'm not playing it safe. We've already cashed a few money lines. Let's take the plus 210. Let's trust that this team's going to have a chance to maybe win this hockey game with just how their confidence, the camaraderie. It's the camaraderie, too. Everyone is set on this Ducks team in post-game interviews. This dressing room is tight. We love each other. We're having fun together. And they look at it as a challenge, not just a challenge, but an opportunity when they've stepped up and played these great teams, the Anaheim Ducks, Vegas, Dallas, Florida, you name it. So over by Fecta, Anaheim plus 210 and Anaheim team total over. And that Anaheim team total over, that's the funny part about these Ducks team totals is, all this offense, and we're still freaking getting 2.5s with their team total. Over 2.5 minus 122 with it going into this game here tonight. I hope it lives up because I can't wait for it. Alex, what do you think? Anaheim, Colorado.
Yeah, I'm right there with you, rolling. Of course, with Ducks, I grabbed plus 200 earlier today. I grabbed minus 130 on the team total over 2.5. And I'm looking at this over 3 flat at MGM. I'm seeing plus 120, so I'll grab a little piece of that too. He said, now, could this be the end of the run? Certainly, but we've cashed. There's no reason for us to stop right now, especially when you're still giving us Anaheim at this high of a price. So Ducks, team total over 2.5, team total over 3, and I'll be waiting for that first period over. Even with an over 2 at plus 110, maybe this starts off a tad bit slow, and I'll try and jump in on a 145 or 150 at a 1.5 with this kind of expectancy where you're seeing some books moving to 7 for the full game. So, maybe even grab a goal in the first 5 minutes as well, just to play it safe in case I don't have enough time to grab that adjusted price.
Yeah, Jonathan Davis likes both teams to score 3 goals at plus 154 here in this game, which is another way of going about it. You could take, 6.5, it's minus 125, minus 130. The problem is you could get a 5-2 final score that still goes over the total. That's the risk you run, but there's at least a reasonable chance that if it goes over 6.5, both teams are going to get 3 goals. There's a reasonable chance that happens. So
and something I'm looking at too, I don't do a whole lot of these player props, but I'm going to parlay Carlson and McKinnon. You can get minus $1.12 for each of them to get a point. I think that's fair with the way they're heating up right now.
A lot of props. I'm going to take Leo Carlson, not only goal and an assist prop, but I'm also going to take the over 1.5 points with him. He is playing so good. And you know what I love about Leo Carlson? He is confident in who he is as a person and human being. It's not easy to he has a stutter, a very noticeable one, and he does not care about it one bit. He's going to go do his interviews. This is who I am. Deal with it. I love that. Great. This is who you are. Show it out there for everybody. Whereas some people might have self-confidence issues, with when you've got that kind of a thing going on, but he doesn't, and he's playing great on the ice. He's playing like the kind of player that we obviously expected he could be when he was drafted first round, 3rd overall by the Anaheim Ducks. But let's also give shout-outs to, again, Kreider has fit in just seamlessly and help this power play. How about Beckett Seneca? That guy looks like he's ready for NHL duty. This guy, no wonder he made the team. He's been great. Troy Terry has been fantastic. There's not many that haven't been good for this Anaheim Ducks team. No question about that. I think even their blue line should get some praise because I don't think they get talked about enough. Lacombe and Drew Hellison and how Olin Zellweger has stepped up and been well. And Trouba, believe it or not, looks like he fits this team well. The old physical, shutdown veteran with a bunch of youngsters and kind of learning. Cutter Gauthier, yes, a bona fide sniper in this league, it looks like, on full display coming into his own. It's endless with this team.
That's part of the Quenneville factor, too. We talk about how well he's working with these young kids, but the resurgence of a Kreider and a Trouba, guys who we just kind of thought were maybe in the twilight of, he knows how to manage veterans probably better than any coach in the last 15, 20 years. And understanding that blend of still being able to work and manage the kids, but still giving the veterans room, but also allowing them to still kind of find their fountain of youth, so to speak. And certainly that's the case with Kreider and Trouba right now.
No doubt. And as far as a couple more, like I said, I mentioned all the Leo Carlsson props that I like here tonight. Gavin Brindley for Colorado. I know right now he is slated still to be, down the lineup on the fourth line with Parker Kelly and Bardakov, but he scored in back-to-back games for Colorado. And if you watch this kid in college, we know he's got great offensive ability. So plus 850 at BetMGM for Gavin Brindley for Colorado to find the back of the net. He's on a 2-game goal streak. So, like I said, I think that is definitely worth a look. Yeah, I mean, Beckett's a big friggin' guy, Beckett Seneca. No question. And he's only going to get bigger. He's only going to get stronger. I like that he doesn't mind getting into the scrums. We've seen that multiple times, showing a little edge to his game as well. Like I said, that's just a real fun team to watch. And it's just remarkable how quickly Coach Q's been able to mesh it all together and coach it all up and give this kind of a start to the year that we are seeing from that Anaheim Ducks team. All right, Winnipeg and Vancouver. We've got Winnipeg minus 120, road favorites, 6 the total here in this game. I'm going to buy low here and take Winnipeg minus 120. I know they're 0-3 on this road trip. They lost to the LA Kings and got shut out, and then they lose to San Jose, Anaheim. Newsflash, if you haven't figured it out the last 15 minutes, we've gushed over these two teams. Losses to San Jose and Anaheim aren't that freaking terrible anymore. Okay, so I know Winnipeg lost back-to-back games to the Sharks and the Ducks, but yeah, last year you're saying, oh my God, what is wrong with Winnipeg? You're losing to San Jose, you're losing to Anaheim. You're not saying that shit right now because San Jose is improving, showing improvement, and Anaheim has obviously been one of the biggest surprises here of the first month of the season. So yeah, you don't want to lose those games if you're Winnipeg, but you're not going to hold their feet to the fire and just throw them in the ditch because they lost to the San Jose Sharks and the Anaheim Ducks these last two games. So I like them here in a buy low spot against the Vancouver Canucks, who are off back-to-back over the weekend. They played Columbus on Saturday, Colorado on Sunday. They beat the Jackets. They lost to the Avs, third game in 4 nights. Yes, Thatcher Demko returns from his latest, probably not his last, but his latest injury absence in net for the Canucks tonight. It should be Connor Hellebuck for Winnipeg. But again, we're talking about a guy that hasn't played in some time for the Canucks. Will he be on top of his game? We'll have to wait and see on that. I like this price. I like this spot. Jets for me, minus 120. Alex, what do you think? Winnipeg, Vancouver.
Little birdie goes cheap. This is a very cheap price with the Winnipeg Jets. So minus $1.20, I'm in as well.
All right. That's pretty much it. I didn't do a whole lot as far as props on this particular game. I do want to mention, though, there are a couple players on Vancouver that have scored in back-to-back games. DeBrusk, 2 games with a goal in a row. Drew O'Connor, been waiting for Drew O'Connor, one of the players they got in the Pittsburgh deal last year. Back-to-back games with a goal for Drew O'Connor. I like the Drew O'Connor one just because it's a little bit of a better price. Plus 600 in some spots for Drew O'Connor to find the back of the net here for the Vancouver Canucks tonight. There we go. And did I have anyone for Winnipeg as far as prop tonight? I thought maybe I had one. It was, Nemestikov. Still on that second line, so there's some value there with him. All right, Kyle Connor, 9 goals, 9 assists last 10 games versus the Canucks, says Rich. So yeah, there's someone that's obviously done a lot of damage. Certainly been a pain in the neck to the Vancouver Canucks over the years. Kyle Connor. All right, our last game for this Tuesday slate, we've got the Seattle Kraken and the Columbus Blue Jackets. Seattle minus 120 home favorites. The total here sitting at 6.5, shaded to the under in this game. One thing that's worth noting is Columbus is a very, very dubious spot for them. Had a 3-1 and a 4-2 lead last night against Edmonton. They blow it. It goes to overtime, and then Edmonton wins in overtime. And now another loss on this road trip, and now you got to play a back-to-back. The air miles are adding up. You played Saturday in Vancouver. You played it last night in Edmonton, third game in 4 nights, 4 straight losses for the Blue Jackets on this road trip. And here's Seattle rested and waiting for you after losing in Dallas 2-1 on Sunday. So clear spot and scheduling advantage for Seattle. The question is going to be, do you want to trust them at minus 120 and take them? I mean, I would lean Seattle, but it's just a very, very tough spot right here for the Seattle Kraken. But I don't think and they have dominated this series as well. Since Seattle entered the league, Seattle 5-1 in the last 6 meetings versus the Columbus Blue Jackets. And the record is 7-3 all time, or 5-3 rather all time in the series for Seattle. But I believe for Seattle, we've still got Joey Daccord on IR, and that's a problem. They're just not going to be able to get as reliable, and they needed Joey Daccord's goaltending for some of these wins they got earlier this season, where they won because he was just phenomenal in net. And now you got to rely on the Philip Grubauers and the Matt Murrays of the world in between the pipes right now for Seattle. So that being said, I'll say this about Matt Murray. He got the start against Dallas on Sunday. 2 goals allowed. Not as bad as I would have thought. 23 saves on 25 shots, but still need to see a little bit more. The numbers for him, 0-2 as a starter, 2.73 goals against average, 900 save percentage for Matt Murray in net. We should see Elvis Merzlikins tonight for the Blue Jackets on the back-to-back, because obviously it was Jet Greaves last night. Not confirmed, but I would fully expect that. And by the way, Miles Wood day-to-day for the Jackets. He got banged up in the game, or actually didn't play yesterday due to illness, and may not play here. And again, this is part of the flu bug going around with the Blue Jackets. Miles Wood and Cole Sillinger dealing with it, and both may not play. And that's another thing that makes this very tough for the Jackets here, Aaron. It's that not only is it 4 straight losses on the road, lots of travel, back-to-back after a very tough loss last night to Edmonton, but now you got this flu bug, which just zaps your energy. And you need energy when you're going to play third game in 4 nights on the road and a back-to-back after a tough loss in Edmonton and likely getting in late to Seattle. So not good for Columbus. It's Seattle or pass, but I got to admit, it's a little leery to take Seattle with anyone but Daccord and net for them at the moment. But I could only look at Seattle here in this game if I'm betting the side. Alex, what do you think? Columbus, Seattle?
I think I'm actually going to play this. First, I was kind of debating them, and now I'm thinking more and more. I like Columbus to score the first goal in the first period, plus 130. And from that point forward, I would look to maybe grab Seattle. And like I said, I could see this being where Columbus going to be pissed off about how they blew that game last night, and maybe come out with a little bit of energy. But how long can that last? Maybe their legs start to give out from them in the second and third periods moving forward. So this will be a live look game. But I'm going to start it off with betting CBJ first goal or first period plus 130 with eyes on maybe grabbing Seattle right after that.
Right. I like the approach, because you got to think, if you want Columbus, bet them early, because you got to think maybe they've got their legs a little bit, and maybe after the loss last night, you get that best showing from them in the opening 20 minutes, but then they fade as the game goes along later on. So that's definitely just conceptually, that's an approach that I could see making sense here tonight with the Jackets and the Kraken. As far as props here for this last game for Seattle, I do want to mention a couple of things. Kakko up on the second line. Berkeley Catton is still on that first line for the Seattle Kraken. This is a guy with just 3 assists so far this season for the Seattle Kraken, but they've been keeping him up there and giving him every opportunity here on that top line. I get the feeling with Columbus maybe feeling some significant fatigue. This could be the night for Berkeley Catton to maybe get that first NHL goal. This is nothing that's on the stat sheet that tells you he is due or he's ready to pop and burst out and score. But I just, from a Columbus standpoint, with the wear and tear adding up, and if fatigue, not just physical fatigue, but mental fatigue. You're mentally tired when you're playing these kind of games and this kind of travel in a condensed fashion. So maybe this is the night for Berkeley at home, get his first goal, plus 580. Probably will sprinkle on that a little bit. For Columbus, Fantilli, Monahan, obviously played last night, was able to get on the board for the Jackets as well. So those are a couple props I would look at on the Columbus side. Great stuff. And yeah, Fantilli heating up. I think the buy sign is there for Fantilli props. Kind of went through a little bit of a struggle, but like I said, now maybe starting to get on a little bit of a run. He can certainly be one of those players where when he gets that first goal to get going, he can get rolling for a little bit of time. Great stuff. Shout out to the chat. We appreciate all of you. 530 live viewers. Great to see that on a Tuesday. Hit the like button. We appreciate it very much. Make sure you check out wizardsportspicks.com. Tons of great handicappers there on the website. Me, Alex B. Smith, Matt Robinson. Matt clearly had something come up today, but that's okay. We'll get him on Friday. But wizardsportspicks.com. Make sure you check it out. It's been a great run on the website, 12-5 run for me with NHL. It was a 3-1 all hoops last night with the premium picks, NBA and college. We passed on the NHL as far as premium picks last. Good thing I didn't have a great night other than the draw the Florida first period over fell short too. So like I said, it was a good night to pass in the NHL at the website Wizard Sports Picks, but we got a big NHL card there tonight, 12-5 run in the NHL. Great college basketball start to the season as well. Profitable. So make sure you check it out, wizardsportspicks.com, and check out patreon.com/ice guys, $10 per month. Again, goalie charts, totals charts, all the bonus content. We appreciate it. Certainly, we love that you guys have supported. We appreciate your support. Becoming a Patreon member, and of course the daily betting card each and every day, sides, totals, player props posted each and every day on the Patreon page. So make sure you get on board. It's just $10 per month. We will have a Patreon exclusive live betcast later this month in November. That's in addition to the betcast that we've got next Tuesday, November 18, which is the free-for-all betcast. We'll have a Patreon exclusive betcast in November as well. So get on board before that betcast takes place. Sign up $10 per month, patreon.com/iceguys.
Also, check out the Ice Guys store at iceguys.myspreadshop.com. We have a sale starting today for the next 7 days. You can get 20% off. You hit the redeem button at the top of the page, add your items to your cart, 20% will be taken out at checkout. That's 7 days going, and we will have a new item. It's a bargain bin special t-shirt that will be up with a new logo. That'll be up around approximately 6 o'clock Eastern. So definitely want to check that out, along with all the other great merch that we have in the store, and save 20% off all week long. That's at iceguys.myspreadshop.com.
Bargain bin special of the night and best bets coming up right after we hear from our great Ice Guy sponsors.
Wizard Sports Picks, featuring the finest handicappers in the universe. Sharp insights, trusted picks, and relentless results. We strive to help you become consistent winners. This is Wizard Sports Picks.
Where the kings and queens shop.
Thanks to all our sponsors, including our brand new smoke sponsor, Royal Cannabis. Check them out, royalcannabisshop.com, and get 20% off with the promo code ICEGUYS. All right, bargain bin special of the night. Not from either of us, but the streak continues of at least one bargain bin special, cashing thanks to Perlo with Adam Fantilli of the Columbus Blue Jackets. Fantilli lace, got it. That's the new one for Fantilli. Remember that Chantilly lay? That's like an old song from way back in the day. That's I just thought of that. We got something for Adam Fantilli.
There we go.
Then.
Addison got to add it to the playlist.
Chantilly lace. There we go.
Yeah.
Chantilly lace. There we go. All right. Bargain bin special of the night, Alex. What do you got for Tuesday?
Yeah, let's keep this train rolling. We're going to go up the street to Grand Casino Arena. You got the San Jose Sharks getting into town. We're talking about Macklin Celebrini. He's one of the hottest scorers in the league. The hype is real, and he's been scoring early and often, getting the first goal of the game. That's where we're rolling with tonight. First goal of the game at 11-1. We'll also play it a little safer and go first away team goal and get that at plus 500. So Macklin Celebrini to get things rocking and rolling early for the San Jose Sharks. That's my Tuesday bargain bin special.
All right, good stuff there indeed. All right, my bargain bin special of the night. I'm going to go with two. I was going to not use Matteo again, but I have to. I have to at this price. I mean, my goodness. Plus 540, Michael Amadio for the Ottawa Senators. We're going to rock once again with him for one of my bargain bin specials here tonight on this slate. And the other one, I love this price, and he's been picking it up and really starting to get confident at the NHL level, and it's in the Ducks-Avs game. And even though I like Anaheim in the game, I'm going with a Colorado Avalanche player for bargain bin, Gavin Brindley, plus 850. Huge price, Gavin Brindley, Colorado Avalanche, plus 850, along with Michael Amadio, Ottawa, plus 540. 2 bargain bin specials for me on this Tuesday. All right, best bets. Alex, what do you like for best bet?
Yeah, right back to that same game, San Jose and Minnesota. I'm going with that Sharks team total at 2.5 minus $1.20. That's my best bet tonight.
All right, good stuff. San Jose team total over 2.5. Best bet for Alex B. Smith. My best bet for this card, it's probably the most captain obvious bet on this entire board, but we're going with it anyway. Anaheim, Colorado over 6.5, minus 130. I think we'll see goals in that game. Just 2 prolific, explosive, dynamic, potent, skilled teams going head to head. And like I said, both of them averaging 4 goals per game, north of it this season as well in the case of Anaheim. I like it. I think it's going to be a fun, exciting game tonight. Anaheim, Colorado, over 6.5, minus 130 for my best bet here for this Tuesday, NHL slate. Shout out to everyone in the chat. Hit the like button. We appreciate it very much. Reminder, 1 week from today, November 18th, Tuesday, November 18th, is our November live betcast, our free-for-all November live betcast. So make sure you tune in. We're excited about that. The Frozen Frenzy betcast was great, and we anticipate another great betcast coming up next Tuesday as well. A reminder, the Ice Guys is live 7 days a week. A delayed start on Monday, but Tuesday to Friday, 2 p.m. Eastern, Saturday, Sunday, noon Eastern. If you can't watch the show live, download the Ice Guys podcast in audio form on all major podcast platforms: Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, and more. Download the Ice Guys podcast when you can't watch the show live. And yes, the song I was talking about Fantilli is Chantilly Lace by the Big Bopper. The Big Bopper. Look it up. It's a great song. Get your toes tapping. For Alex B. Smith, I'm Ian Cameron. Have a great Tuesday night. Enjoy the games and good luck. And we will be back with you tomorrow on Wednesday, 2 p.m. Eastern, for another edition of the Ice Guys.